A unique stove door in the shape of a star has been found by the Oak Island crew deep beneath rocks. They believe that this door holds the key to a location that no one has ever had the courage to dig and uncover. Despite this, they continue their quest for clues. And Gary Drayton, an expert in metal detectors, discovered a crusty metal clump that might be anything. Following that, the team conducts drilling at a new location known as HN 15.5, which they believe may be a concealed chamber some 27 feet below the surface. After discovering nothing, they decide to concentrate their efforts on the Chappelle and Hedden shafts. When Fiona Steele is in Lot 5, she asks Ethan Green and Peter Fornetti to move a boulder that has charcoal, brick pieces, and mysterious bones buried beneath it. Brickmaking, tanning, and mining are all possible explanations, but a television audience that is anticipating knights and buried Spanish treasure is not going to be convinced by this. Laird Niven and Emma Culligan take on the metal blob that was discovered, which eventually disintegrates to reveal a stove door that dates back to the middle of the 1800s. The major and significant find is a component of an oven, which most likely came from one of the numerous teams that investigated Oak Island over the course of its history. Having returned to Smith's Cove, the team is continuing its hunt for any indications of the work done, getting closer to laying out whatever system someone left behind, which may include codes, routes, or storage for potentially harmful information. The crew is making progress. As Emma and her team continue to design fresh scans, conduct tests, and search for evidence of whatever might have been attached to the iron, they are not yet finished with their ongoing investigation. In the hopes of locating the remaining portion of the structure in a timely manner, they are pursuing the shoreline. The crew is currently concentrating their efforts on the shoreline because if this thing was buried deep and still had features that were similar to those found in other regions of the island, then there might be other pieces of a puzzle on the island's history that no one was aware existed. Some people are muttering about a building, which is something that is enormous, buried, and perhaps man-made. This structure might be anything from support beams to door frames or even a floor. There is a shift occurring in the energy on the island, as each beep of the detector is now seen as being personal and heads are turning. In the lengthy and perplexing story of Oak Island, Emma is the one who is leading the fight, and the door does not feel like insignificant at all. There is a look on Emma's face that suggests she is already 5 steps ahead of the game when she comes in with data and scans. The debris contained a few surprises that were concealed within it. These were metal fragments that had fused directly into the stone-like crusts, and nobody really gave them any thought. Iron castings, the kind that screamed the middle of the 19th century, were what they were dealing with, it had turned out. There was still something, even though it wasn't the old piratey things that some on the team had hoped for. Mainly due to the fact that this indicated that there were people down there longer than anyone ever anticipated, either attempting to conceal anything or to fortify it. It is manganese that is the real kicker. The levels that they discovered brought the date closer to the 1800s, which indicates that someone brought a real stove, or at least pieces of a stove, into this godforsaken location, left it behind, and then vanished as if it had never occurred. That is done by who? That are the people that bring heavy iron to a pit that is packed with traps and bounces? Gary, a member of the metal detecting team, is currently working on a project on Oak Island, where they are engaged in the search for a treasure that has been concealed. They come across a bolt, a contemporary nail, and a wooden shape, all of which give them reason to believe that they may have located the Restall family, who were influential in the region during the 1960s. The group is currently dealing with spectral instruments that were used by treasure hunters in the past, and every piece of steel that they unearth whispers, "You're making progress. Stay the course." Attempts are being made by the crew to locate wooden forms, bolts, and fasteners, as well as anything else that could potentially give shape to what is located below. Despite the fact that the crew is playing with them with scraps and echoes, Emma's scans and manganese data are helping to change the attitude. They are now in possession of a date, a purpose, a timeline, and possibly a way forward. Despite the fact that Smith's Cove is not yet finished playing games, the team continues to go around and around the maps, notes, and fragments that they can still retain in their gloved hands. They disagree about the quality of the wood samples, the angles of erosion, and the layering that is inconsistent. Some people think it looks like an ancient barn door, while others think it is similar to boards that were salvaged from a shipwreck that occurred in the 19th century. The data that Emma has collected reveals density patterns in the concretions, which tell stories that appear to have been hurried or deliberate. In the morning of the following day, The digging process begins once more, but this time with larger machines and more tempered workers. The mud fights back as if it is aware that it is beginning to lose the prize. With each scoop, just enough is pulled up to maintain the possibility of winning without revealing the prize. In spite of the fact that they are made, the bolts that they are discovering have pits. They begin to recognize a pattern, which consists of bolts arranged in clusters and nails arranged in rows. Before it was consumed by the soil, someone constructed a supporting structure, or a casing. Following the process of drawing lines in the mud and marking out the perimeter, the chaos appears to be a blueprint. As they delve further, it becomes increasingly apparent that whatever took place here, whomever was responsible for it, was attempting to construct something inside the context of something else. The more they go into the matter, the more it becomes apparent that this was not a coincidence. When all is said and done, the true treasure that lies on Oak Island is not gold, but rather the truth that they have been neglecting the entire time. Send us your feedback in the comments section, and don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more content. Voids, tubes that cross at the money pit, and strange things happening underground. The reports were shown clearly, showing how full the money pit was. The 3D picture shows that the areas with moderate density are yellow, the areas with low density are blue dots, and the areas with high density are orange and red. Based on how you look at it, places with a high density are more likely to have treasures, while areas with a low density are more likely to have tunnels, voids, or vaults. Based on the picture, the result is good overall. What should be the baby blob was found about 65 feet below the money pit, west of the garden shaft. There was a lot of stuff there. More than 112 feet below the surface, however, there is a low-density area. The team has a conflict of interest because the results mean they might not be able to get to the high-density area because Dumas Limited is still running. Luckily, this isn't the only place where there are a lot of people. An oddity was found about 85 feet southwest of the garden shaft and 230 feet below the money pit. It had a much higher density than other places. This information makes everyone think of their potential. It looks like Oak Island might have more than one prize. This fact has never occurred to searchers in the past or present until now. The team is willing to learn more about what has been found and agrees to use careful digging to try to find out more about the island. As the minute went on, another report was made about an odd, low-density area that Oak Island's team seemed to have looked into. It's different from other low-density, concentrated areas because it seems to cover a mythical, important spot. There have been many attempts to find Aladdin's cave, but it has been hidden by the void for a long time. The L15 hole was drilled, and a big hole was cut at the SDW of the garden shaft just a year ago. The cave was about 40 feet long and 12 feet wide, and there were drawings and other signs of human activity inside. When people were asked about the water in Aladdin's cave, they said it was heavily contaminated with heavy metals, and it looks like the water has some gold in it. It's possible that the cave has been found before, but if not, it has now because all the signs point to it being the right place for the mythological place to be. The report from Ideon Technologies has changed the game and taken a big step forward in finding the prize. Right now, they have exact places, clear goals, and a plan for how to drill. This is a great result that shows that the years of study were very useful. Luckily, L15 can be drilled right away because it is not near the garden shaft. Drilling can start as soon as it is planned to. The meeting went very well because it proved what most of the team already knew. There was more than one treasure at and near the money pit. I think we can all agree that technological progress was a big part of solving many of Oak Island's secrets. The Duma Contracting Company keeps drilling deep in the garden shaft in the morning of a new day. This time, they are going to dig up L14, Aladdin's cave. On the other hand, archaeologists at Lot 5 keep digging deeper into the stone wall of the rectangle depression that was built to hide the treasures. Some finds have been made, as expected. Some of them go back to before Oak Island, and its treasures were found. The crew found a new object early on, a piece of metal that they thought might be a bolt or a chain link. There could be a few clues as to why the claimed chain link's pieces were found. Some people think that the object broke while being moved or bonded with other items, possibly treasure, and was then buried before the stone wall was built. There's also a chance that something strange and possibly more complicated happened in the area. Where did the idea come from? What was the point of it? Who were the makers anyway? It is likely that the proposed CT scan of the artifact would solve these questions. But one thing is for sure, Lot 5 wasn't just a neighborhood. There is proof that it was also used for military purposes, either because of a conflict or as a training ground. The archaeologists keep carefully digging and sorting to find more unique artifacts that might finally give them information about what people did in the area. Back in the Money Pit area, another member of the team starts to work on the trash that was taken away. The expert with the metal detector and the historian on the team worked together to dig through the trash and find metal objects. Gary found several strong metal signs in the thick, murky water more than a year ago, but he wasn't able to get as much information because the search had been stopped. There was, however, a lot of proof that the place had a lot of precious metals. There are fewer limits on the operation this time, which means it will have more effects. Not long after the scanning, the detector made a number of beeps, which, as expected, meant that valuable metals were present. In no time, a big metal piece thought to be a wedge was found in the mud and other junk. The metal spike is likely part of an axe, as this is what most people think it is. But why would a piece of metal from an axe be more than 80 feet below the ground? Was it used to build tunnels, or did it break while the valuable metals were being buried? If this theory is even slightly true, it looks like the metal wedge dates back to at least 1735. It may contain information about the people who lived in that area and their way of life, society, and technology. The item was sealed and kept until it could be scanned and studied in the lab.